So good afternoon, good evening, everybody. So knowing about CRA, we just had a conversation. There are still a lot of question marks, but I would like to put some light onto it, understanding the CRA and the impact. CRA stands for Cyber Resilience Act. And I personally work for Texas Instruments. Philip said earlier, TI. So I will say TI only moving forward. I've been working for TI for more than 30 years. So I'm kind of a veteran of TI. And I'm leading the TI-wide CRA task force. So I've been chartered to make this a success. I've been chartered to be able to sell products after December 27. That's kind of my introduction to CRA. So Julia mentioned everybody knows, but does everybody know what CRA means? And the, okay, I would say 50, 60% maybe. So let's talk about it. Navigating the EU Cyber Resilience Act. So the act itself, the law, is in place since November last year. The regulation will be in place from December 11th, 27. Your products, every product, and the first time actually when it has come to regulations, it is the first time that not only the end product, that also the component inside the product. So our chips, we have ADI, we have Infineon here, we have TI. Our chips will have to carry a CE mark from December 27 whenever they have a digital element integrated. So a CE mark today, what does a CE mark mean? The CE mark today stands for the environmental, health and safety aspects, and from December 27, it will cover cybersecurity aspects. So the main intention from the EU is a good one. We all know about cybersecurity attacks, and the intention is a good one. But there are risks as well associated with the law and the definition as it is set up today. So I will walk you, I have only 2 slides for the 10 minutes. I will walk you through, I believe, a couple of important points to understand. And I give you an example. I talked about the products and I talked about the components. And these products and components, they are classified in the law. And these classifications are shown here. You have what's called critical, you have important, class 1, important, class 2, and you have default. Critical, those are on the semiconductor side, those are really the what's called secure elements. Those are certified against the highest level of cybersecurity standards. And these are in the critical bucket. We talked a lot about software, MCUs as well. Important class 1 and class 2, these are microcontrollers, processors with security functionalities, and also with tempering features in class 2. And then there is this default bucket. On the semiconductor side as well, it means that, again, I mentioned, every or any product with a digital element, and think about it, which product does not have a digital element anymore today? We can maybe say it's an operational amplifier. It's maybe this one, yeah. We can maybe say it's a voltage reference, right? So it's the minority. Texas Instruments, TI, I wanted to say, TI has about 80,000 products with about 100,000 customers. And out of the 80,000 products, I did the analysis for our sales into the EU. It's about 50,000 products ballpark which have a digital element. So these products from December 27, they will have to carry a CE mark. And then there are so many question marks. We talked about this earlier in the break already. There are no written harmonized standards even yet. So for the important class, there are working groups. Also for the critical, there are working groups currently working on a harmonized standards, even not written up. And you maybe as the customer, our customer, you want to know already about a compliance, which is difficult to make, obviously, already a statement. And then there is a very important topic. The EU law, the CRA law, does not provision any path for what we call legacy products, which means existing products. All of you, when you build boards, when you do embedded systems, you rely on products which are, partly you talked, Joseph, I think you talked earlier about years, right, of products. We talk about decades. We have products which are decades old, which were designed in the 80s and the 90s. They are proven. We have vulnerability handling P-certs in place. Products are proven, and we know about vulnerabilities as well there. Those are good products, but there is currently no path. There's a risk that from December 27, these products, we are not allowed anymore to sell them into the EU. So we are working also, we have a lobbying effort going on with industry associations into the EU Commission. There is a lot on the awareness side which is done with cabinets as well, people to understand as well what the risk is, but ultimately there's a risk for the supply chain. You've all heard about the one semiconductor company in the last days and the automotive business. There's a big risk as well. There's a big shakeup happening in 2 years if we don't succeed in impacting this as well, in changing and in making this more practical. Again, we at TI, we are, I would say, definitely committed. We want to find ways. Even the law, it's a 90 pages long law, difficult to understand, partly as well ambiguous in the interpretation, like laws typically are. But we are working with our legal departments, even with external counseling, to go into the details as well, like points like legacy devices, for instance, and also the ways how to assess the products as well. Again, that's the situation. Even if for a single product, even if legacy was okay, and we would have to do an assessment by product, we couldn't handle this sheer number of products, 50,000 products, impossible. We need to find ways. There are different options in the law, and in the law, it's basically, it is called assessment procedures. There are 4 different assessment procedures in the law you can look at, and 3 out of the 4, they go really product by product level. And again, if you look at this number of products as well, and if there is a path for legacy components moving forward, we cannot go by a product case and scenario. It just doesn't allow it. There are multiple other security standards today in place. We have a CSIP, that's an Internet of the Things cybersecurity standard, an ARM, PSA cybersecurity standard, an industrial automation and control, an automotive, we as TI, we are a certified automotive cybersecurity vendor. There's the EU Cybersecurity Certification Scheme as well, and one or the other semiconductor company is using one or the other standard to find an entry path, but none of these actually 100% complies with CRA. That's important. And the question is, though, none of these does it completely. What do we do? What do we do with 50,000? And there is a way, and I would like to encourage as well whoever is working in a company with many products out there. And this is basically where we are discussing in industry associations, where we are discussing even with the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. There is one assessment procedure which is called the Module H. And this assessment procedure is a compliance at the quality assurance process level rather than the product level. So you look at the company, how the company is set up, all the security procedures you have in place, including vulnerability handling, which most of the companies today have already in place, like TI definitely as well. And from there, you make sure the process in itself is set up in the company, and from there, you can look at a risk assessment by the product. And the Module H in particular has one benefit. It calls out the product category. Now, this would be a big benefit for us. 50,000 products. And we might categorize our products by risk assets. We can look at assets, and we know security features like on MCUs, HSM, SHA, and all the type of features which might be on there. But again, we also talk about analog mixed signal type of products. An asset could be a register map, which you could compromise, right, from outside. The question is can you access it from the outside of the product itself? Most likely not. So you can do a risk assessment, and you look at the risk assets, and from there you can build your risk catalog. And we believe we can find a way for scaling in here, where we look at the products, we look at these assets which you have in a company for your products as well, and you can do a mapping with a risk assessment accordingly. This is what we think is one way of achieving a scaling. Even if you go into the 10,000 type of products as well, this could be a way how to move forward. However, again, I want to make the point, this can be applied, we assume this can be applied to new and legacy products together. From a principle point of view, we believe it should be, because again, products are partly, they're decades old, right? And they don't have necessarily an attack surface if they are not connected to the outside of the box as well. And therefore, there is knowledge about these products as well, but still, we need to get this through the EU Commission as well for confirmation. So that's one way. And this risk assessment would then come for every individual product at the end, once this is done, and it can serve as a baseline foundation. There might be certain reasons why you want to have a cybersecurity compliance for industrial automation and control, because you are in this market. The market or the customer might demand it, the semiconductor manufacturer might go for it and might work on the certification. There might be a CSIP need, CSIP level 1, level 2, level 3, and there might be, again, the market requirement. This can be done on top, obviously, but they cannot be done on such a number of products at the end. That's the big challenge out there. I'm looking on my watch. It's okay. So that's the summary of CRA. Again, not only the product, every chip will have to carry, with a digital element, will have to carry a CE mark for cybersecurity. That's point number one. A lot of challenges ahead in terms of no written harmonized standard up to this point. So there are a lot of question marks. The supply chain is at risk there. Our customers obviously have the same questions already today, and there has to be a lead time. And we, on the supply chain, on the silicon semiconductor vendor side, there are big question marks, obviously, in terms of 26 months which are left until it legally comes into force as well. And the big question mark on legacy products. I think these are the three major big challenges when it comes to CRA. And I would be very open to discuss in the breaks as well what you've experienced. Again, there are many question marks as well. Maybe some others have found different ways or different answers. There are many question marks, I believe, as well to open source and like Joseph and Philip, like bootloaders and whatsoever. There is obviously an SBOM requirement. It's a requirement as part of CRA as well. So we will have to have an SBOM requirement for our for any software which we are providing with our MCUs and processors as well. So this is coming on top. So I'm very eager to learn from you as well on the topic, and looking forward to the discussion. Thanks for listening, and thank you for the opportunity here tonight.
Thank you very much. Yeah?